Hi guys, my name is Christian. I'm here with Desert Apologetics for the 2025 Anchored Conference, and I'm here with Dr. Clay Jones. Hi, Dr. Clay Jones, how are you?
Hello, Christian. And you can just call me Clay.
Okay, all right, Clay. Well, Clay, you just did a wonderful message on how does sex go insane. So can you tell us just a little bit, I know you just gave a full message, but just give us like a condensed version.
Well, I think the condensed version is on how it goes insane. The official title was Curing Sexual Insanity, but the way it goes insane is if there is no God, and I don't believe that there is a God, then my pleasure becomes the most important thing. Nothing's more important than my pleasure. Now that, to me, that makes sense. I mean, it does make sense.
Yeah.
If I didn't think there was a God, then I'd be, hey, the world's about me.
Yeah.
I'm going to have as much fun as I can. Nothing should stand in the way of my fun. Sex is fun, so nothing should stand in the way of my having fun sex. And as what's happened, unfortunately, is a lot of people, as they watch pornography and as they keep experimenting, they can get tired of regular sex and then start going, you know what, let's try something new.
Wow.
And pretty soon, well, sex becomes, sadomasochism, group sex, on and on. Let's just keep doing whatever.
So they're pushing the threshold.
They're pushing it. Well, you've got to keep excited.
You got to stay excited.
Right? I mean, you sit there and go, I've had sex with a whole bunch of men. If you're a woman, well, it doesn't now, man or a woman, I've had sex with a whole bunch of people. I need to try something different. And, and that can just lead to people, like I say, sadomasochism, bestiality. People just, what can I do to have more fun, to have more pleasure? Because pleasure, if there's no God, then pleasure is like the highest good in my life. So I got to.
So they're making sex their God or pleasure their God.
Pleasure becomes their God, and the trouble is that good luck getting control of that. Once pleasure is your God, where does that stop? Yeah. And anyway, it's not a good thing.
Yeah. So what's the cure for that, would you say?
Well, obviously, I think the cure for that is realizing there is a God, and realizing this God is willing to enter into a relationship with me and give me eternal life.
Wow.
See, eternal life, but then I need to do what He says, because He knows best on how the world should run.
Yeah.
And so we need to then just submit ourselves to God and do what He says. Somebody asked me, I was talking to a dorm full of guys at Biola, this is probably 2005, and one of them said, do you have any advice for us? And I said, what do you mean? He says, not just general advice. You have any general advice? I said, yes, I do. Read the Bible and do what it says.
Yeah.
And the guy goes, well, that's easy. I said, or that's simple. And I said, yeah, it is simple. It's not easy, but it is simple. Yeah. Read the Bible and do what it says. And you will then have a good life. In Hebrews it says that to come to God you must believe that He exists and that He rewards those who diligently seek Him. Yeah. And what's that? That's another way of saying it pays pays dividends, spiritual, emotional, physical.
Wow.
Blessings, benefits to you if you try to please Him. And that's what Christianity is about. There is a God. Jesus really did die on the cross. Jesus really was raised from the dead. Yes. And I'm going to live accordingly. And if I do that, He'll bless me. And, of course, the biggest thing is, and give me eternal life. Yeah. And a lot of people, what they need is a robust view of eternal life in Jesus. Because if you have that, then you're not going to be chasing the next little pleasure, because when you think about it, when it comes to sex, the pleasures are fleeting.
It is.
It's
not eternal.
It's not even, it's not hardly any time at all. And then you're like, okay, now what did I get out of it? So Yeah, I think the biggest thing is, of course, coming to a personal relationship with Jesus, and then believing that He's going to give you eternal life, and you're going to live forever and ever and ever and ever.
Yeah.
And that will, because as I said in there, one more thing. As I said in there, everybody is lust. Everybody's full of lust. And you're either going to lust after people, possessions, positions, or pleasures, or you're going to lust after God and His kingdom. But either way, you're going to lust. And the answer isn't don't lust after anything. The answer is to set your lust on God. That I want to please Him and do what He says, and that I'm going to live forever and ever and ever.
And I remember you said something very profound that I didn't know before, but you said that the word lust and the word to desire for God in the Greek is the same.
Same Greek word.
Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Well, it's the word epithemia, and it just means, well, you can translate it desire or you can translate it lust, either one. But like I say, I wish in a way, I know why they don't, but that our English translations always translated that word as lust. But then it would be lust after God, you know, and instead of, avoid worldly lusts, would be the correct way. But then they'll say, but desire God. And well, that's good, but I mean, it kind of obscures what the language really means.
Yeah, that's really interesting. Yeah. So let's see. So you talked a good amount about the LGBT movement and the difference between LGB, and then the T is kind of separate. Can you talk a little bit about that?
The T is separate because the LGB is who you want to have sex with.
Okay.
You know, that I desire, if I'm a man, to have sex with a woman, or I have desire to have sex with a man, or whatever. And the Q, or the T rather, is who am I? What's
So
my
it's an
gender?
identity.
It's an identity issue. It's extremely different. And what you're finding is that, well, if you went to X and you searched the words LGB without the T, you'll find that the lesbian, gay, bisexual community is not happy with the TQIA because the trans people are saying, you should want to have sex with me. And they're like, but I don't. If I'm if you're a male homosexual, you don't want to have sex with a woman who turned into a man. And if you're a lesbian, you don't want to have sex with a man that turned into a woman.
Yeah.
It doesn't.
So they're kind of at odds with each other.
They're at odds. And like I say, if anybody has any doubts, check out LGB without the T.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Because they're definitely at odds.
Yeah. So another thing that you talked about was people who they stated this, that Jesus never said anything about homosexuality. Does he?
Well, I think that the verse that says, where Jesus in Matthew 19 says that God created a male and female, and that for this reason a man shall leave his father and his mother and be joined to his wife, and the two will become one flesh. That's a pretty clear statement about the way God sees marriage to work.
Yeah.
So, to me, that's pretty clear.
Yeah, Jesus does say something
I
about
think
it.
he does there, yeah.
Yeah, I would agree with you. Okay, let's see. Lastly, you gave a story about Dr. Craig Hazen and talking about he was at a party and a lot of he was surrounded by a group of.
Well, his late brother was
late brother was
gay.
Okay.
And he went over and he was driving by West Hollywood, and that's where his brother lived, which those that know that area know that that's being gay in West Hollywood is almost, that's got to be the most gay place in America. But anyway, but he's driving and he says, I'll stop by and see my brother. He goes in and the room is packed full of people. And he says, and his brother, as he walks in the door, his brother is telling all these gay men, say, hey, here's my evangelical fundamentalist brother.
Yeah. Wow, that must have been
Christian,
really intimidating.
and they all surrounded him.
Wow.
And he said, you know, and they started, why are you guys so bigoted, and why are you this and that and the other thing? And he said something that I think is profound, and I think Christians ought to use all the time. He said, if there is a God, and he has something to say about sex, would you want to know what it is? I think that's really profound, and I think it's exactly the point. And it's what we want to do, because we want to bring people back to, is there a God, and does he have something to say about this?
Yeah.
Because if there is no God,
Yeah.
I don't care who people have sex with.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't care if they want to marry goats. If there is no God,
Yeah.
do what you want to do. Pleasure is your highest good. Go for it. But if there is a God and he has something to say, you need to find out what it is. And that's exactly apologetically where we want to see people come.
Yeah, yeah. And so I think that's a great question to ask people, to kind of find out where they're at, and then you can take it from there.
Yeah, and it forces them on to the territory that we want them to be on.
Yeah, if they believe in God or not.
Yeah, if they believe in God or not. And I mean, somebody'd be a fool to say, well, if there is a God, if they said there is no God, then you'd have a talk about that. Why do you believe there's no God? And if they said there is one, well, what if he has something to say about sexuality?
It kind of focuses,
you know, I mean, but it gets it back to apologetics issues, and that's where you want it to be.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Clay. We really
My
appreciate
pleasure.
you coming over.
My pleasure.
And we look forward to more in the future.
Very good. Thank you, Christian.
Thanks.
All right.